The pain shot through my spine like lightning as I tried to get out of bed. My legs trembled, refusing to hold my weight. But I knew what would happen if I didn't make it downstairs in the next 5 minutes. "Sarah, it's 7 a.m. Stop pretending and get down here." My stepmother Lisa's voice pierced through the walls of our Victorian house. At 23, I'd become the family's designated attention seeker. Every wince, every tear, every doctor's appointment was met with eye rolls and accusations. Even my father, once my biggest supporter, had started believing Lisa's narrative about my manufactured symptoms. "I'm trying," I called back, my voice shaking as I gripped the bedpost. The room spun violently, but I forced myself to stand. 3 steps to the dresser. 5 to the door. Just keep moving. "Oh, look who finally decided to grace us with her presence," my stepsister Megan sneered as I carefully made my way down the stairs, clinging to the railing. At 19, she fully embraced her mother's attitude toward me. Dad sat at the breakfast table, hidden behind his newspaper. He didn't look up when I slowly lowered myself into a chair, biting back a whimper as my joints protested. "The dishes need washing," Lisa announced, pointedly staring at the full sink. "Since you can't contribute to the household financially anymore, the least you can do is keep up with chores." 6 months ago, I'd been forced to leave my job as a graphic designer when the mysterious symptoms became too severe to ignore. The migraines, joint pain, muscle weakness, and constant fatigue had transformed me from an independent young woman into someone who could barely make it through basic daily tasks. "I'll do them after breakfast," I promised, reaching for a piece of toast with trembling hands. "Like you did yesterday." Megan rolled her eyes. "Oh wait, you were too busy having one of your episodes then too." The toast turned to ash in my mouth as I remembered yesterday's incident. I collapsed in the kitchen, my legs giving out without warning. Instead of helping me up, they'd stood around discussing how I was obviously faking for sympathy. "I have a doctor's appointment today," I said quietly, directing my words to Dad's newspaper. "Dr. Williams wants to run more tests." The newspaper lowered slightly. "Another appointment? Sarah, this is getting ridiculous. Do you know how much money we've wasted on your imaginary illness?" "It's not imaginary," I whispered, fighting back tears. "Something's really wrong. Dr. Williams thinks." "Dr. Williams thinks whatever you want him to think," Lisa interrupted. "You've always been good at manipulating people, haven't you?" I stared at my plate, remembering when I'd first moved in with Dad and Lisa after Mom's death 5 years ago. Things had been different then. Lisa had actually seemed to care, before she decided I was competing for Dad's attention. The room suddenly tilted, and my vision blurred at the edges. "Not now," I pleaded silently, but my body had other plans. The toast slipped from my fingers as violent tremors racked my frame. "Oh, here we go again," Megan sighed dramatically. "Should we call the Oscar committee?" Through the haze of pain, I heard chairs scraping back. No one came to help. They just watched as I slid from my chair onto the cold kitchen floor, my muscles spasming uncontrollably. "Sarah, enough." Dad's voice was sharp. "This attention-seeking behavior has to stop." But I couldn't stop. My body was betraying me in ways I couldn't, or wouldn't, understand. As consciousness started to fade, I heard Lisa on the phone. "Yes, she's doing it again," she was saying, presumably to Dr. Williams' office. "We need this to end. Send whoever you need to send. We'll prove she's faking." The next thing I remember is opening my eyes to find not just Dr. Williams, but a stern-looking woman in a white coat kneeling beside me on the kitchen floor. "I'm Dr. Eleanor Chen, neurology specialist," she said, her fingers pressed against my wrist. "Just lie still while I examine you." My family hovered nearby, their expressions a mix of annoyance and embarrassment at having a specialist witness what they assumed was my latest performance. But as Dr. Chen conducted her examination, her face grew increasingly serious. She pulled out various instruments, testing my reflexes, muscle strength, and nervous system responses. With each test, her frown deepened. "How long has she been experiencing these symptoms?" she asked sharply. "She claims it's been 6 months," Lisa replied, emphasizing the word claims. "And you haven't sought specialized care before now?" Dr. Chen's tone could have frozen fire. "We thought she was just," Dad began. "Just what?" Dr. Chen cut him off. "Just lying about being in excruciating pain? Just pretending to lose control of her muscles? just imagining the clear neurological symptoms I'm seeing. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across their faces. Dr. Chen stood up, her professional demeanor barely containing her anger. "This young woman needs immediate hospitalization," she'd announced, "and we need to have a very serious discussion about medical neglect." The word neglect hit like a thunderbolt. My family stood frozen as Dr. Chen called for an ambulance, their certainty about my attention-seeking finally beginning to crack. Little did they know, this was just the beginning. Dr. Chen's arrival would shatter their comfortable illusions and force them to face the devastating consequences of their disbelief. The emergency room buzzed with activity as doctors and nurses rushed around me. Dr. Chen hadn't left my side during the ambulance ride, efficiently briefing the hospital staff about my condition. My family trailed behind, looking increasingly lost as medical terms flew over their heads. "Her test results are concerning," Dr. Chen announced, studying a fresh set of scans. "The inflammation patterns are exactly what I suspected. We need to start treatment immediately." "What exactly are we looking at?" Dad asked, his usual confidence crumbling under Dr. Chen's stern gaze. "Your daughter has a severe neurological condition that has been left untreated for months," she replied, her voice sharp. "The damage is extensive, and it could have been prevented with early intervention." Lisa, who had spent months calling me a drama queen, suddenly found her designer shoes fascinating. But she seemed fine most days. "Fine?" Dr. Chen's eyebrow arched. "Ms. Thompson, I've reviewed Sarah's medical history. She's documented every symptom, every episode, every time she asked for help. The only thing fine about this situation is how finely tuned your ability to ignore her suffering has become." Megan shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "We thought she was just trying to get attention." "Oh, she has my attention now," Dr. Chen replied coldly, "along with the attention of every specialist in this hospital. Would you like to know what we're seeing?" She pulled up my scans on a screen, pointing out areas of inflammation and damage. My family's faces paled as she explained each finding in excruciating detail. "This," she pointed to one area, "is why she couldn't stand most mornings. And this is why she kept dropping things. And here's why she experienced those fake episodes you so callously dismissed." Dad sank into a chair, his face ashen. "Why didn't any other doctors catch this?" "Because you kept canceling her appointments," Dr. Chen answered, consulting my records. "Every time a doctor suggested specialized testing, you dismissed it as attention-seeking behavior. You actively prevented her from getting the care she needed." The weight of their actions finally seemed to hit them. Lisa started crying, while Megan looked like she might be sick. "What happens now?" Dad asked quietly. "Now," Dr. Chen checked my IV. "Now Sarah begins aggressive treatment to prevent further damage. She'll need extensive physical therapy, medication, and regular monitoring. And you," she fixed them with a stern look, "will all attend mandatory family counseling." "We'll do anything," Lisa whispered, reaching for my hand. I pulled away, not ready for her sudden show of concern. Dr. Chen noticed. "Sarah's psychological recovery may take longer than her physical one. 6 months of being told you're lying about your own body takes a toll." A young nurse entered with more medication, checking my vitals with gentle efficiency. "The pain management team will be here soon," she told me kindly. "You won't have to suffer in silence anymore." Those words hit my family like physical blows. They'd forced me to suffer in silence, had made me question my own sanity, had turned my pain into a family joke. "There's something else we need to discuss," Dr. Chen said, her tone becoming even more serious. "Given the level of medical neglect involved, I'm obligated to file a report. Sarah is an adult, but the deliberate dismissal of her symptoms and prevention of medical care raises serious concerns." Dad's head snapped up. "A report?" "Yes, Mr. Thompson. Your daughter could have suffered permanent disability due to delayed treatment. There are legal implications to consider." The room fell silent except for the steady beep of monitors. My family had always wielded power over me through their disbelief, but now they sat powerless as medical professionals documented their neglect. "I didn't know," Dad whispered, more to himself than anyone else. "I really didn't know." "That's the problem," Dr. Chen replied. "You didn't want to know. You chose to believe she was lying rather than consider something might actually be wrong." Lisa dabbed at her eyes with an expensive tissue. "We can fix this, right? We can make it up to her." Dr. Chen looked at me, letting me answer. You can't fix the last 6 months, I said, my voice stronger than it had been in weeks. You can't undo the damage or erase how you treated me, but you can learn from it. We will, Megan promised, speaking up for the first time in hours. We'll do better. Dr. Chen nodded approvingly. That's a start, but the road ahead won't be easy. Sarah needs support, not suspicion. Can you provide that? They nodded eagerly, desperately, but I noticed Dr. Chen didn't look convinced. She'd probably seen many families like mine, forced to face their mistakes only when confronted with undeniable evidence. As my family filed out later that evening, following Dr. Chen's orders to let me rest, I caught a glimpse of their faces. The arrogance was gone, replaced by shame and uncertainty. They'd wanted proof of my illness. Now they had it, in stark medical terms they couldn't dismiss. 3 months into my treatment, the dynamic in our house had shifted dramatically. The same family that once mocked my symptoms now tiptoed around me, their guilt manifesting in different ways. Dr. Chen's report had triggered an investigation, resulting in mandatory counseling sessions with Dr. Peterson, a specialist in medical trauma. Every Tuesday, we sat in her office, unpacking months of dismissal and denial. Sarah endured something deeply traumatic, Dr. Peterson explained during one session. Being disbelieved about your own pain by those meant to protect you creates lasting psychological damage. Lisa, who'd replaced her dismissive comments with excessive hovering, burst into tears. I keep thinking about all the times she begged for help, and I just ignored her. It's not enough to feel guilty, Dr. Peterson responded firmly. You need to understand why you chose disbelief over support. Megan, who'd stopped making snide remarks about attention-seeking, spoke up. I followed Mom's lead. I never even considered Sarah might actually be sick. And that's part of the problem, Dr. Peterson noted. You all created an echo chamber of dismissal, reinforcing each other's assumptions without questioning them. Dad, who'd grown quieter since Dr. Chen's intervention, cleared his throat. I failed as a father. After her mother died, I promised to protect her, but instead, you protected your new family's narrative about me. I finished for him. It was easier to believe I was lying than face the truth. The truth had become impossible to ignore. Under Dr. Chen's care, my condition slowly improved, but the damage from months of neglect left its mark. Physical therapy 3 times a week, regular neurological checkups, and a cocktail of medications became my new normal. One evening, I found Megan in my room, staring at my medication organizer. 8 pills a day, she whispered, and we called you dramatic for asking for help. 12 on bad days, I corrected her, watching her face fall further. How do you not hate us? She asked suddenly. I would hate us. I considered her question carefully. Sometimes I do, I admitted. But hatred takes energy, and I need mine for healing. The investigation triggered by Dr. Chen's report led to changes beyond our family. Dad's insurance company launched an inquiry into denied claims. Lisa, who served on the board of a local healthcare foundation, was asked to step down. Their carefully constructed social image crumbled as the truth about their medical neglect spread. Good, Dr. Chen said during a checkup after I told her about these developments. Sometimes consequences are the best teachers. She'd become my fiercest advocate, ensuring my family couldn't interfere with my treatment plan. When Lisa suggested alternative therapies instead of all these harsh medications, Dr. Chen shut her down so firmly that Lisa never brought it up again. 6 months after my hospitalization, I made a decision that shocked everyone except Dr. Chen and Dr. Peterson. I'm moving out, I announced during dinner. I found an apartment near the medical center. The table fell silent. Lisa's fork clattered against her plate. But we're just learning how to help you, she protested. That's exactly why I need to go, I explained. I need to heal without the constant reminder of what happened here. She's right, Dr. Peterson supported during our next session. Sarah needs to rebuild her trust in herself, away from the environment that damaged it. Dad helped me pack, handling each box like it contained his broken promises. I'll cover your rent, he offered. It's the least I can do. No, I said gently. I need to do this on my own. My graphic design clients had started returning as my health improved, providing enough income for independence. More importantly, I needed to prove to myself that I could trust my own judgment again. The day I moved out, Megan helped carry my last box to the car. I read about your condition, she said quietly. About how early treatment could have prevented so much damage. I'm sorry we didn't listen. I looked at my stepsister, seeing real understanding in her eyes for the first time. Use that knowledge, I told her. Next time someone tells you they're in pain, believe them. Dr. Chen came to check my new apartment, ensuring it met my medical needs. You've come a long way, she observed, watching me move around the space with growing confidence. Thanks to you, I replied. You gave me back my voice. No, she corrected. You always had a voice. I just helped others hear it. As I settled into my new life, my family struggled to accept our changed relationship. They wanted immediate forgiveness, a quick return to normal. But as Dr. Peterson reminded them, trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. Remember, she said during our final family session, Sarah's independence isn't a punishment. It's her taking control of her health and her life. Looking around my new apartment, at the medication organizer by my bed and the physical therapy schedule on my wall, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Peace. The specialist's visit hadn't just validated my symptoms, it had freed me from the prison of disbelief. My story wasn't over, but at least now I could write it on my own terms.